Welcome to Unmasked, the show where we take you with us on a journey to explore some of the best kept secrets of the British Isles. We're going to take you on a journey with us to see some of the untold stories, fables, myths and legends that have existed in our communities for generations. When I was a child, it was always the books about ghosts and demons that I would pick out of the bookshelf first. Now that I'm an adult, I'm sceptical, but I'm ready to be convinced otherwise. Why have so many people reported sightings of paranormal activity at Borley Rectory? I want to believe otherwise, but I think I'll need some convincing. Today we're taking you to the site of the most haunted house in Britain, and perhaps even the world. But how did Borley Rectory come to have this reputation? And what happened to the spirits of this place when the house burnt to the ground in 1944? This is a place where for many years people claimed sightings of floating nuns, headless horsemen and phantom coaches. But why does this sleepy village in Essex still attract such interest today? Join us as we meet some of the people still tracking its spirits and who claim they have never gone away from Borley Rectory. We've managed to make contact with Russ. Russ is a professional ghostbuster, and he's been to Borley Rectory on many occasions. He's already told me that he's had so many things happen to him while he's been there. So today we're going to go join him, and we're going to find out whether there really are spirits at Borley Rectory. He's bringing his equipment, we're going along, and we'll see what we find. At the moment, I feel it will be very difficult for me to come away from Borley Rectory and think there is a ghost here. The presence of this nun, this elusive nun they all talk about. I don't imagine necessarily seeing her, but I can imagine Russ making me think a bit differently about the area. Before we headed to Borley, we swung by Russ's house to meet the team. I wanted to get a feel for the methods they would use to investigate the site. Hi Russ.
Hi there, you alright?
Good to meet you.
And meet you too. Come in, guys.
Thanks very much. So how does Borley Rectory rate alongside other experiences that you've had visiting haunted places in terms of the certainty with which you feel the presence of...
Oh, it's up there.
Spiritually, yeah.
Spiritually, it's massive up there. Yeah, it is. It's goes in my top 5. Yes, it was a very, very, very first spiritual excitement I had, but it does keep drawing us back there. At some point, we always go back there. You know, we could investigate that place so many times, but you just want to go back. There's a calling that just takes you back to that place.
And when you go and visit places, so when we go to Borley Rectory, what equipment do you use?
Oh, we've got loads of equipment.
Can we have a look at some of it?
Of course you can.
Do you want me to get a spare battery?
Yeah. Touch it.
That's it.
Yeah. See, that needs to be touched to go off.
So if you were to go to Borley Rectory or to anywhere with a REN pod,
You'd use like a controlled experiment to it. So you'd leave that in the middle of the pathway. So you haven't really necessarily got to touch it. So the stronger it is, it has to have something there. So it's what that's doing is generating a static field around that. So if anything comes close to it.
So if you were on a trip,
yeah,
and you put that down in the middle of a pathway,
yeah,
would you? Oh, we've got the bear going off. So what is this bear talking to us about?
The Boo Bear it's got a heat sensor in it. But the bear you tend to use with children. You know, it's a child sort of trigger object for me. Boo Bear will actually tell you it is sort of like a bit of a paranormal investigator itself, because it will go, is it me or is it getting hot in here? So what's happening. Boo Bear is telling you that the temperature field is going up in the room, or Boo Bear will go, it's getting cold in here, and it will start. So that's telling you there could be possibly a presence coming forward.
He says it's an infrared.
It's your thermal imaging camera. So it's what if you'd be looking for a cold spot in the room or a hot spot.
Or just a cot with anywhere with no sign of activity suddenly going red.
Yes.
So red is the highest heat.
Yeah. You have echo box, which we use quite a lot. So is what you do, you just ask if there's anybody here with us, could you let us know your name?
And what's going on here? What's these noises?
It's just a load of phonetic sounds being randomly generated. Like and is what they say is spirit can modify that
To turn it into a word.
or a sound of a word that you can sort of generally hear.
At this point, the team decided to use a spirit board in an attempt to contact any spirits that knew about Borley. Although nothing beneficial about Borley Rectory came to light, I had my first unsettling experience with the paranormal world.
It's going again.
Are you messing around with the lights?
Turn them off. Turn the light off. Dim the light. Dim it. Fair enough.
Good.
Oh, so gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no. That's a bit much. Are there demons at Borley? Do you really want to know?
I do want to know about any demons lurking in Borley, and on the drive up there I couldn't stop thinking about an old cassette tape we were sent the week before. The tape documented an exploration of the rectory before it burnt to the ground. The investigation was undertaken by the famed paranormal investigator, Harry Price. It also contained a BBC recording from a private investigation of the church undertaken in the 1970s. What you're about to hear are claimed to be the sounds of a Borley spirit or demon.
If there is anybody in this church who is trying to communicate with us, we'd be grateful if you would try and do something tonight. Perhaps you could tap out a message for us in rapping, or give us some indication of how we can help you.
As we approached Borley, there was no eerie or devilish feel to the place. It was just like any other rural English village. We made our way across the church's threshold and into the grounds to begin our investigation. Simon seemed pensive and decided to explore the surroundings first. We noticed a sign hung on the church's steel gates, stating that no spirits walked the land here and that they've all been laid to rest. It was clear that the parish had had enough of people's suspicions of Borley, but Simon disagreed and picked up on the presence of some spirits immediately.
So Simon, could you just give us an indication as to what it is that you're feeling and what you found here?
If you'd have been here about 5 minutes ago, there's a female here, and I heard her voice, and I wish you were here about 5 minutes ago because it was quite clear. If you could do it again, I'd really appreciate it. But the draw is from down there to up here. Right, and they will not walk in that church.
Should we follow her?
Not at the moment, and I've got a man. I'm trying to get his name. Get his name now. And he's the one that's telling me that Harry Price has not told the story.
I hadn't mentioned Harry Price or the tape I'd been sent to the group, so it was exciting to hear them pick up on this. I dashed back to the car to retrieve the tape. Maybe it would trigger a reaction from the spirit Simon was in contact with.
How would this woman who's with you now, this voice, feel if I gave you...
Well, that's your answer.
That's your answer. Maybe we have an answer.
Was the discarded tape a sign of torment from a disgruntled spirit? I picked it up off the floor and handed it to Simon once again.
How does your spirit feel if I give you that told?
I think they give you the answer, they want it on the floor.
It was obvious the tape was causing Simon a bit of distress. I didn't want to upset him, but this was my first real lesson in ghost hunting.
I think if if Simon doesn't feel comfortable going into the church grounds...
Don't be silly.
Simon, I won't force you, but if your colleagues will.
That's the whole idea of a paranormal investigator. When you don't get that feeling of you don't want to go there,
You have to go.
you have to go, because obviously I won't say it's giving you a message, but it's almost stopping that message.
Driven on by the group's appetite to explore, Simon followed us into the church. The place had a desolate and isolated feeling. It hadn't been abandoned, but it was unwelcoming. We made our way to the back of the church, where Russ had told us he was picking up on a lot of activity. Russ wanted to use the word generator he had shown us in our first meeting to try and contact the spirits he knew were walking here. Before I could ask the spirit a question of my own, something chilling was eager to be heard.
Spirit.
Witch.
Witch?
Yeah,
Is that said witch?
yeah. I picked up on that last time. Lone.
Spirit, can you make yourself known to George, please?
Spirit, do you see me?
That went very quickly. It doesn't normally go with words that quickly.
Spirit, do you see me?
Yoga.
I'm not sure the spirit knows I'm here.
Although my downward dog could do with some work, this blip was soon forgotten when Henry pointed out that the witch's call was coming from behind the bushes, and he decided to explore further.
So in the last few minutes, Henry's gone to the other side of the church grounds, which leads out of the church. He says that the spirit won't come into Holy Land, so he's gone out there to meet the spirit, and he's already done, and he's embodied the spirit. He pointed at me and said, "You wanted to know where I am?" And now he's still there. But he seems quite troubled by it.
Russ asked if we would follow him. We seemed to be heading in the direction of Henry, who was still pacing vigorously. I was told they wanted me to use a pendulum, a method used for spirits to interact with the physical world.
You hang it over your hand like so, and we're just going to allow spirit to try and get that to move for you.
And
then
tell me whereabouts we're going.
we're going to go where we believe that we saw from behind the church the witch.
Okay.
All right,
Well,
so
let's go.
we're going to throw it in the deep end a little bit.
As we prepared to use the pendulum, Simon took a step behind me. It seemed he was performing some sort of ritual in order to begin proceedings.
Henry said he could feel
Yep.
the presence of the spirit,
Yep.
who's very upset with the church, with the world. And now we're going to use the pendulum to try and speak to her.
Yep, you're
So,
gonna.
I'll speak to her. So how do we do it so that we know the pendulum is saying yes?
So it's all we ask the pendulum to do is just hold it a little bit straight and say, pendulum, what way is your yes? And once again,
It's vertical. Are you angry with the church, pendulum?
yes. That was quite a drastic yes.
Spirit, were you tried as a witch?
Yes.
Are you guilty?
I'd expect that to be a no. Well, she stunned me because it has gone to yes. That stunned me because I would have gone no straight away. I would have gone no straight away.
To be quite honest, she has got extreme power. Was it your voice? That's yes? If that's your voice, we'll sound it again. Let's all hear it.
Don't want to.
The whole group was keen to hear the voice of the witch again, so we decided to use the wireless frequency scanner. Russ told us spirits can manipulate radio frequencies to pass on messages.
Spirit, should we go into the grounds?
Yes.
Yes.
That was a horrible yes as well. That weren't even a nice yes.
I wanted to see if the witch would follow me into the church, but Russ stopped me in my tracks. Under no circumstances would she be allowed in.
The spirit wouldn't come in with me. I didn't hear. I was hearing lots of chatter out there. They're not in here.
No spirit coming with you. That spirit cannot get into this graveyard, this church.
So the ground's sealed off then?
For her, yes.
Do you think that there's something about the history of this place that's just keeping out a lot of spirits?
That's a witch. She's not invited.
Russ revealed to us he'd made contact with Paul, the gatekeeper of the church's spirits. It took me by surprise how much this interaction affected him.
What's going through your head now?
I've lost my chain of thought.
Are you feeling all right?
Yeah, I've just lost myself. I don't know where I am at the moment.
You need to sit down?
No, I'm all right. I'm trying to figure out. Like, no, he's right. Whoever this guy is, Paul, hasn't worked his entire journey to let any Tom, Dick or Harry in here. They cannot get in here, male or female. So what's Paul?
Is this the gatekeeper that you think, the spiritual keeper?
Yeah. Paul, why, if that is the truth, why is the energy different there? Tell me why the energy is different there.
This was the last contact we had at Borley. I think it's fair to say that we found no conclusive evidence of ghosts, demons, or witches, but the day threw up more questions and some interesting experiences. Whether you think the ghost or the spirit world exists, one thing is for sure: Borley will always remain a pillar in the paranormal world and will continue to entice future ghost hunters to uncover its secrets for generations.